Imagine yourself walking into the store and finding that the price of your favorite chocolate has increased. Would you still buy it? The answer to that question is exactly what we are going to discuss in today's video. Hello everyone, welcome to the brand new series by Economics Harbour, Concept Battles. And in today's video, we are going to discuss a very important part of microeconomics, that is your elasticity of demand. So let's begin. Now, the very first thing that you need to know about elasticity of demand is that it was given by Alfred Marshall. And what it talks about is that how well or how will your demand respond to the change in factors such as prices, income, or prices of related goods, tastes and preferences, and so on. So this is what your elasticity of demand tells you, the level of responsiveness of the change in demand due to factors such as price and so on. But before we move forward, it is very important to understand the difference between your demand and elasticity of demand. And the first major difference is that your demand is qualitative in nature and the elasticity of demand is quantitative in nature. Right? So where demand tells you that in what directions the prices and demand are going, right? Are they going in the same direction or they're going in the opposite direction? What is the direction of change in demand due to change in price? That's what your demand tells you. On the other hand, elasticity of demand tells you the extent of that change. It will tell you the direction as well. We'll go about it in a few minutes, but it will also tell you the magnitude of that change. Okay, how much is your demand actually changing with a change in price? So that's what elasticity of demand tells you. And in this video, we are only going to focus on price elasticity of demand. Other elasticities of demand will be taken up in the next video, right? So let's begin. The price elasticity of demand. In technical terms, price elasticity of demand is defined as what is the proportionate change in quantity as a result of a proportionate change in price. That how much is your quantity demanded changing with respect to your price. Now before we move forward, you can see this negative sign here. Right? It will not make the price elasticity negative or positive, but this negative sign actually tells you that what is the direction of change. Direction of change in the sense that what is the relationship between price and quantity demanded, whether there is an inverse relationship or there is a positive relationship and so on. So this formula tells you that this negative sign tells you that quantity and price is inversely related, right? Another thing is that what are the values of it? Now, whenever we calculate price elasticity, we are going to take the absolute value. We are not going to take into account the signs, negative, positive. We are not going to take into account those signs, but just the absolute value. Okay, now if the price elasticity of demand is greater than 1, this implies that a small change in price is leading to a bigger change in quantity demanded. This price elasticity greater than 1 implies that your quantity, the proportionate change in quantity is greater than proportionate change in price. So this shows that your demand is elastic. That means even a small change in price is bringing about a bigger change in quantity demanded. Okay. Similarly, if price elasticity is less than 1, this implies that denominator is bigger than the numerator. If I just go by mathematically, right, then this shows that a change in price, a proportionate changes in price is bringing about a smaller change in quantity. Means your quantity demanded is not reacting much to the change in price. So this implies that when the value of price elasticity is less than 1, your demand is inelastic. That the consumer is not very much affected by the prices of that commodity, right? But if the value of your price elasticity is equal to 1, it shows unitary elastic. Okay, now in this video we are going to take up certain quizzes here, right? And it's time for the first question, right? So you can solve it and just mark your answers and do comment that what is your score in the end, and also we'll be discussing these questions as well. Okay, so stay with us. So let's just solve the question that is there given on your screen. Okay, moving on. Coming to the shapes of demand curve, right? These are very important. Now, first is that there is a lot of confusion that, okay, if I'll just jump first, right? If it is a flatter curve, price elasticity is considered to be greater than 1. If it is a steeper curve, price elasticity is less than 1. And if it is okay, a equal proportionate change, right, then this would mean that price elasticity is equal to 1. Absolutely not, right? The only graphical way by which you can represent a unitary elasticity is through rectangular hyperbola, right? Rectangular hyperbola states that price elasticity is equal to 1 here, right? Why? Because the area beneath any point on the hyperbola, rectangular hyperbola, remains the same. Okay. Next, if price elasticity is greater than 1, then we can say that proportionate change in quantity is greater than the proportionate change in price. Let's prove it on the diagram itself. Let's say this is our price and quantity. Okay. Let's say there is a small change in price. Okay. It is bringing about a larger change in your quantity demanded. So a flatter demand curve will imply that price elasticity is greater than 1. Next is, what if price elasticity is equal to 0? That would mean that our numerator is 0. That means that change in quantity upon quantity is 0. Right? Means any change in price is not bringing about any change in quantity demanded, right? So quantity remains the same, and that is the case here. So when price elasticity is equal to 0, you will have a vertical demand curve. Okay? And similarly, when price elasticity is equal to infinity, there will be a horizontal demand curve. And which market structure has a horizontal demand curve? Perfect competition. We'll do that in the upcoming videos as well. So whenever there is a horizontal demand curve, so the price elasticity is considered to be infinity. And when there is a steep demand curve, then in that case, price elasticity is less than 1. That means a change in price, a bigger change in price, is bringing about a smaller change in quantity demanded. So here also you can see that change in price is greater than the change in quantity. Okay, so a steeper demand curve would imply that price elasticity is less than 1, right? So time for question number 2. Do solve it. Moving on, the measurement of price elasticity of demand. First thing, the first method that we've done is the proportionate or percentage method. That is, you can say price elasticity of demand is equal to minus, that is the relationship between price and quantity demanded, percentage change in quantity upon percentage change in price. So this is the proportionate or percentage method. Okay, and we've already done that. Now, next is the point elasticity method, right? So just now we said that rectangular hyperbola is the only way of representing the price elasticity equal to 1, a unitary elastic, right? Then this can be represented through the point elasticity method, right, which is measured as lower segment upon upper segment. Now when you see this graph, you can see that the midpoint shows price elasticity equal to 1, right? The lowest point, that is C, shows price elasticity equal to 0 because there is nothing beyond this. So numerator becomes 0. And the topmost point, that is D, shows price elasticity equal to infinity. Means your numerator is there, but your denominator has the value of 0. There is nothing above it. Okay, so this is the thing. And the points in between in this range will be elasticity is less than 1, and in this range it will be elasticity greater than 1. Now you can clearly see that even on this kind of a linear demand curve, the elasticity is not remaining the same throughout the curve. It is changing right from 0 to infinity. Okay, so that is why we say that a linear demand curve is not always showing a unitary elasticity. Okay, next method is your arc elasticity method, which is also known as your midpoint method. Now when you have to find the elasticity between a range, right, between a range, then in that case, for example, from A to B, right, then in that case we use arc elasticity method. It is not at a particular point, but in a complete range we are trying to find the elasticity. And when this is the case, we use the arc elasticity method, which is represented as EP is equal to change in Q upon Q1 plus Q2 divided by 2, the whole figure divided by change in P upon P1 plus P2 divided by 2. 2 and 2 gets cancelled, so we get change in Q upon Q1 plus Q2, the whole divided by change in P upon P1 plus P2. Okay, so this is your arc elasticity method. Okay, and the fourth method is your revenue method. Now what is the revenue method? We'll discuss that in the case of your market structures. Basically it is more relevant in your monopoly kind of a market structure, but still you should know the formula. Revenue method states that price elasticity is AR upon AR minus MR. Okay, the last method, that is your total expenditure method, means how much is your expenditure changing with a change in price, and this was given by Alfred Marshall. Okay, now let's just read the table here. Now we can see that there is a change in price. The price is falling. Okay, so when price is falling, quantity would automatically increase, but the expenditure is remaining constant, right? That means, okay, a fall in price has brought about an equivalent change in your quantity. As a result, the expenditure is remaining constant. So therefore, when the expenditure is constant despite a change in price, then we say that elasticity of demand is equal to 1. But when there is a change in price, a decrease in price, but your expenditure is now increasing, the total expenditure P into Q is now increasing. That means now consumers are spending more on that good, right? They're demanding more of it, excessively more, right? So in this case, your elasticity will be greater than 1. And when your price changes, but expenditure also decreases. Price is decreasing, expenditure is also decreasing in that case. Then this shows that price elasticity is less than 1. How? For example, take the case of medicines. If the price of any medicine falls, then the expenditure on that will also fall, because the consumer will demand the authentic prescription, like the kind of dosage that is prescribed by the doctor, right? And so the elasticity of demand in this case is less than 1. Okay, so these were the 5 methods. Let's just solve one last question for it. Go ahead. So let's just see how much score you've got. Do write in your score in the comments below. Let's start with first question. The first question was that if the price of your good is increasing by 20%, right? So quantity is decreasing by 10%. Right? So what is the price elasticity of demand? Same straight method, percentage method, that percentage change in quantity divided by the percentage change in price, right? Which is equal to 0.5 is the answer for this. Okay. So those of you who've got it wrong, I hope this makes it clear. Next question. Now, which of the following do not have a uniform elasticity of demand at all points? We know it is your downward sloping demand curve. A horizontal demand curve shows infinity. The vertical demand curve shows 0, and your rectangular hyperbola shows equal to 1. It is only the linear demand curve which is showing different elasticities at different points. Next question, which method is most appropriate when elasticity is measured between two distinct points? We've read this. That is your arc elasticity method. That is your midpoint method. So I hope you've got all 3 questions right, and if you've gotten that, then you are absolutely on the right track. So thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye. Thank you.